Good Friday morning, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get right to your headlines. It's been almost a year since 16-year-old Manny Collins went missing. His father, Jordan, charged in his son's murder after Manny's remains were found in a landfill. In just a few hours, Collins' case will be back in an Anoka County courtroom. Audrey Russo has what we know right now.
Collins' public defender has spent the last week and a half filing motions ahead of today's hearing. Collins is due in court at 1:30. And based on these filings that I found online, take a look at these. It appears as though Collins' attorney is attempting to argue that evidence should be suppressed that was found during a search of Collins' apartment on University Ave. Now that is where 16-year-old Manny was last seen back in early May. Collins' apartment was searched on May 15th. His attorney argued that the search lacked probable cause, and based on court filings, the public defender also took issue with evidence gathered from Collins' online accounts after Manny was found dead at the end of June. Now in November, Collins' attorney also argued that the trial should be moved out of Anoka County, saying that it's going to be impossible for her client to get a fair trial because of all the media coverage surrounding Manny's disappearance. Now, again, Collins is due in court at 1:30 today, and we'll bring you the latest updates both on air and online. But for now, I'll send things back to you.
Audrey, thank you. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton told the House Oversight Committee she has no information about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And today in New York, former President Bill Clinton will give his testimony to members of Congress under subpoena, the first time ever for a former president. NBC's Alice Barr has details of today's deposition.
In a first-of-its-kind move today, former President Bill Clinton set to answer questions from lawmakers under subpoena in the House Oversight Committee's Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The committee chair promising a longer deposition today.
We have a lot more questions for Bill Clinton
than the 6 hours former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton sat for on Thursday.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance.
Neither Clinton has been accused of wrongdoing, but the questioning comes after former President Clinton's photo and name appeared multiple times in the Justice Department's released Epstein files. The former president has said he cut ties with Epstein before learning of any of his crimes.
I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light.
Democrats saying Hillary Clinton answered openly as Republicans assert they, at times,
weren't satisfied with answers.
Democrats now arguing the committee has set a new precedent
about talking to presidents and former presidents. And we're demanding immediately that we ask President Trump to testify.
Republicans making that appear unlikely.
President Trump has answered hundreds, if not thousands, of questions from you all about Epstein.
As the Epstein controversy hits a new marker today.
The committee chair said one thing he's seeking from former President Clinton is insight into how Epstein managed to surround himself with such powerful people. The Clintons wanted their depositions to be open to the public and the media. The chair has promised to release transcripts and videos as soon as possible. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, this morning, we're learning more about Governor Walz' plan to tackle widespread fraud across the state. The proposal includes improving technology to flag fraud, strengthening oversight of high-risk Medicaid programs, and establishing a statewide office of Inspector General. The bills would need bipartisan support to pass in the divided legislature, something the governor appeared to be pretty skeptical about.
Republicans need to be very clear. Do you want to fix it or you want to talk about it? Because it appears to me right now is that they fear fixing this because it takes away what they think is a political leverage, and that is simply wrong.
Now, the House GOP leaders issued a statement that read in part, quote, Governor Walz's indignation theater this morning proved only one thing. Democrats in Minnesota are feeling the heat over the fraud they've enabled for years, and now they're trying to do damage control. Today marks 6 months since the deadly mass shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church, killing 2 students, Harper Moisky and Fletcher Merkel. Governor Walz posted this photo of their desks sitting inside the state capitol. Earlier this week, parents at the school lined the Capitol lawn with empty desks representing the Minnesota children who have lost their lives to gun violence since 2021. A stern message this morning coming from Minnesota's chief federal judge. He says federal prosecutors and ICE officials need to comply with court orders or they'll potentially face criminal contempt charges. That order mostly centers around an email from U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen earlier this month, accusing Judge Patrick Schlitz of publicly overstating how many violations the U.S. Attorney's Office has made in immigration cases this year. In response, Schlitz says there were more than 100 violations in 77 cases just in the last month. Lawyers have already faced civil contempt orders, but criminal contempt could include hefty fines and even jail time. Meanwhile, this morning, we're getting a closer look at how many federal agents are still in the Twin Cities after the end of Operation Metro Surge. Court documents show about 400 ICE agents will remain at the St. Paul field office, possibly through March. That's down significantly from the roughly 3,000 agents stationed here at the height of Operation Metro Surge. Now, before that, about 150 agents were based in Minnesota. Separate court filings also show Customs and Border Patrol personnel assigned to the operation were fully demobilized as of Monday. This morning, a 4-year-old in Plymouth is safe thanks to 2 ICE officers and police. Plymouth police tell us a child jumped into the Ramada Hotel pool to get a toy and was underwater for more than 5 minutes. Officers say 2 off-duty ICE agents responded after a witness yelled for help. That boy was showing no signs of life, so they gave him CPR. Plymouth police took over, and after 10 minutes of CPR, the boy started breathing again and was taken to a hospital. Police sent a letter to Homeland Security thanking those officers for their help. A heads up for all you anglers out there this morning. The deadline to get ice houses off of lakes across the state is coming up pretty fast. Megan McPherson is near Lake Minnetonka, breaking down everything you need to know.
A really nice morning out here on Black Lake, a bay of Lake Minnetonka. The conditions are great, and in terms of the ice thickness, we are still seeing that there is still a pretty good layer of ice out here. You could actually probably see that there's somebody that was out here overnight ice fishing. But the DNR for weeks now has been urging people to remove those permanent ice houses and to be aware of these upcoming deadlines because of deteriorating conditions and thin ice warnings at public access points across the state. That's largely because of those warm temperatures that we had for much of February. So here are some key deadlines to know about over these next several weeks. It all depends on the body of water and where you live. All structures must be off the ice by midnight on the dates that you're seeing here on your screen. For the southern 2/3 of the state, that deadline is this Monday, March 2nd. For the northern 1/3, the deadline is March 16th. And then for Minnesota-Canada border waters, the deadline is March 31st. You could be ticketed and fined if you do not meet those deadlines. The DNR actually says that any structure not removed could be confiscated, possibly even destroyed. You could also face a $100 littering fine. So be sure to pay attention to those. And if you do still want to get some ice fishing in, the season is not over yet. Like this person out here this morning, you can still come out with a temporary shelter like a tent. You could also just come and sit out here on the ice if you have the right equipment. But just know that if you do want to stay overnight, you do have to stay with your tent or whatever shelter you are in between midnight and an hour before sunrise. That's really what the DNR wants people to know, but still plenty of ice fishing. Just make sure that you check the ice conditions as well. The DNR always says that it is on you as an angler to check and make sure that you're being safe out here. Back to you.
All right, good advice there, Megan. Thank you. We are a week away from the opening ceremonies for the Paralympic Games, but the wheelchair curling competition starts 2 days sooner. The entire USA team is getting their last practice in at the Chaska Curling Center today before flying to Italy tomorrow. The team skip, Matt Tom, says he's expecting these games to be different.
Beijing was kind of like Worlds, as in there wasn't many spectators because it was just after COVID and it was China, so it was kind of a lockdown type thing. So I'm also excited for this one because there are going to be a lot of family members. All our team members has family coming. I have family coming. So it's going to be way different than that. We're going to actually have a cheering section. So I'm anxious and interested to see how loud it's going to be in there when we start playing.
Team USA has 4 people from Wisconsin and 1 from Minnesota. Competition begins with mixed doubles on Wednesday. Good luck to all of them. Stick with us. More news and weather on this Friday coming up after the break.